What's going on, guys? A little real talk from the whiskey wall today. Over the last couple of days, I've made some appearances on Fox and Friends First and Risk and Reward, talking all about common sense solutions to stop school shootings and the implications of the boycotts on the NRA. Now, I want to talk through that a little bit more because you only have so much time on TV, but I want to expand on that conversation. Now, first of all, I'm a big believer that the whole idea of these boycotts on the NRA has entirely failed already. Allow me to explain to you why I believe that these boycotts have failed. The idea of a boycott should be, in this case, to implement some kind of perceived change. So one of the problems here is that nobody knows what they want that change to be. Guys, listen, your average everyday American is extraordinarily upset about what happened in the Florida shootings. We all want change. We all want to stop it, but we all need to get on the same page to make that actually happen. So the idea that boycotting these companies that were part of the NRA is going to accomplish something has done just the opposite. Search terms on Google for NRA membership is now through the roof. People who don't own guns are signing up for NRA memberships simply because they are sick and tired of seeing perceived attacks and threats on their Second Amendment rights. So you see companies like Delta. Now, Delta is a great example. Delta turned around and they pulled the discount program that they were offering to NRA members. And then Georgia said, well, hey, guess what, Delta? We're probably going to not allow you to have millions of dollars in tax breaks. So what happened with Delta? Well, Delta turned around and said, whoa, wait a minute. We didn't do that. We didn't pull out to be political. We pulled out because we didn't want to get involved in politics. Come on, seriously? It's like the time that I walked into our kitchen and I saw our 3-year-old with her hand in the cookie jar. And she turned around and we locked eyes and she had this look on her face and I said, what are you doing? And she said, I was just getting you this cookie, Dad. Come on, Delta. We know what you're really doing. You can't back out of it now. Like, just own it. And of course, you have states like Washington, Seattle that are saying, Delta, you could be home here. Well, yeah, of course you could be home there because nobody wants to do business in Seattle because of your stupid tax policies. So all that I'm saying here is that you have to own it. And the idea that these businesses pulling out of the NRA are going to somehow implement change, they're not. All that you are doing is rallying people together. These businesses did not sign up with the NRA to put their product in front of people who are politically like-minded. They did it to put their product or their service in front of the estimated 5 million members of the NRA. So they have now made a calculated, albeit I think poorly calculated move, that they are going to have public support on their side. What they have forgotten about is that there are an estimated 100 million gun owners by some estimates that they have now ticked off. And President Trump has done a wonderful job of teaching people how to fight, of teaching Republicans, conservatives, everyday Americans, even people on the left, how to stand up and fight for what they believe in. And that's what we're seeing so much more of. Now, what I find to be particularly hysterical is this push for a boycott, a 24-hour boycott of Amazon and Apple because of their affiliation with the NRA. I want you to think about this for a second. Nothing says I have strong values and a strong spine like I will hold off for 24 hours on spending $3,000 on that laptop. I mean, come on, you can't even stand by your values long enough to do more than 24 hours of a boycott. And what are you gonna do during those 24 hours? You're gonna sit there on your $1,000 iPhone talking about how horrible Apple is. Think about that for a second. You're gonna have Alexa streaming music in the background while you boycott them for 24 hours. I mean, come on, the whole idea should be that we get together as Americans and we find common sense solutions to these school shootings. Now let's talk about common sense for a second. Yesterday, Dick's Sporting Goods came out and said, we feel horrible about what happened. We sold this shooter in Florida a gun. And so because we sold him a gun, we are going to discontinue the sales of all assault-style rifles and we will not sell guns to people under 21 years old. Here's the inherent problem with that. They sold him a shotgun and they are not stopping sales of shotguns. They're stopping sales of assault-style rifles. He did not use their gun in this school shooting. He did not use a gun that he purchased from them in this school shooting. So if they truly believed in that, then they would stop the sale of all guns. Now, there's an argument that could be made, and Judge Napolitano did make that argument that in some states it's illegal for businesses to say, we're not going to sell to people under 21 because there are age discrimination laws in a state-by-state basis. What I believe is this. People do not tend to necessarily file a class action lawsuit at 18 years old because they're upset about this, but rather the free market determines everything. These cases would take years to play out, but what will not take years to play out is the free market. People will make decisions and vote with their money by moving money to other locations. And so these stores and these businesses are making calculated risks, believing that they're going to get public support on their side for the moves that they're making. Guys, bottom line is this: we need to come together as Americans desperately to find common sense solutions to stop these school shootings. I don't think anybody would argue that. That's why we have put together a task force, a private task force, bringing together veterans turned entrepreneurs. We brought together leaders and school leaders and community experts and everyday Americans to find some of these solutions. I want you to go check out the link below right now, because on that page we have put together our deliverables of what this task force is going to be providing in terms of support and resources, and we are calling for your average everyday American to send us feedback, to send us ideas, and to talk about what they would like to see happen and what they believe is going to help stop these shootings. So guys, I really hope everybody just takes a step back. It's very difficult to do because we're all extremely emotional about this. It hurts. Nobody wants to see a repeat of this ever. The only way that we are going to change is by doing things right now, by coming together as Americans right now, not as bureaucrats, not as lawmakers. We've seen what happens when we wait for them to do their jobs. They're not turning around solutions fast enough in a unified fashion. So this is why we want your average everyday American to help. So check out the link below, give us your ideas, give us your feedback, and I will make sure that the entire task force addresses all of your concerns. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for hitting the share button, and God bless America.